Hey there, my friend. In this video, I will show you how to shift the tides in your favor in the relationship you're experiencing or with the person who you're dating right now, so that you move from attachment and dependency to that other person being attracted to you again and wanting to spend time with you. So we will go into really deep metaphysics. You understand how this process works, and then I will show you at the end of the video how to actually apply it. How to apply this to make the person you are in love with get attracted to you back again, so that you can have an amazing relationship together. And this is something you want. So stay with me until the end of the video, and I'm sure you'll find it really useful in becoming extremely attractive again to that person. So without further ado, let's just begin and get straight into the topic. First of all, my friend, I just want to tell you that relationships ultimately, like I want to just put this context out here. Relationships ultimately are there for us to learn more about ourselves and to become more authentic, to become more sovereign, to become more empowered within ourselves. And if you don't have that attitude in your relationship, then it's almost inevitable that you consistently come back to situations in which you become attached to the other person, because you're not learning from your relationships, and that's what they are here for. And if you're not learning, well, it's like, yeah, of course you will become attached to that other person. So this is just something to keep in mind, in the back of your mind, while going through this video. And now I want us to go through these two scenarios in which you can see exactly what is happening when, let's say, the girl you're dating, the woman you're dating, or like the man you're dating, wants to run away, or like you want to get them back, and he doesn't give you a lot of attention, he doesn't give you a lot of love, he doesn't give you a lot of time he wants or she wants to spend with you. Why does that happen? Like, what's the reason, and how to shift the tides? Well, ultimately what happens is that when you're in such a situation, when you for example, you've been dating somebody, and let's say they stop giving you the attention and love they gave you before, you start panicking in a way. You just want to get them back. You're thinking that maybe you lose them forever, or that maybe you've done something wrong to lose them, or maybe that your relationship will just fall apart, or maybe you're not good enough, and so on and so forth. And you just start to, like, you give so much meaning to that other person, you put them on a pedestal in a way, and you start fantasizing about them, how perfect they are, how great they are, how you can't live without them, so on and so forth, which in a sense makes you more attached to that other person. So let's look at this illustration here and try to explain it in a more easier way. What happens when you become attached to somebody is that you're in a way wanting to emotionally blackmail them. What you're saying subconsciously is that I cannot be enough within myself. I'm not perfect, I'm not whole, I can't treat myself the way that I am, and that's why I need another person who will fulfill me and who will make me happy. And because I'm not enough by myself, I need that other person. So there is a lot of energy of neediness, there is a lot of craving. It's like you're almost like this, I don't know, like this person who has been strangled on an island and he hasn't eaten for 30 days, and then somebody comes to him and shows him food. Well, you have the same attitude towards the woman or man you're dating when she or he starts to just move away, move back. It's like you're craving them, you need them in your life. You wouldn't be able to live without them, and you're like, no, I just need to ensure that he remain in my life. And that's why you become like really expecting, you start to please them in every possible way you can imagine. You become emotionally dependent to them. It's like you're not able to experience and let go and live through your emotions by yourself. You're not able to become happy within you by yourself, and that's why you're like becoming so attached to them. You, in these moments, like if this is happening to you, what happens ultimately in your inner world is that you lack security, you lack stability, You lack purpose. It's like your life has become meaningless, and the only meaning you have is to pursue that love that is now running away from you. So can you see now why it makes sense that your date, like whoever you're dating with, we want to run away? They're basically looking for freedom. Because for a moment, and we will look at the second scenario in a moment, but like for now, I just want you to pause for a second and imagine something with me. Let's assume that you switched places with that person, and let's assume that you were the one who somebody was running after, who your partner, like the person you're dating with, is running after. So you're like, you enjoy spending time with them. It's like you're grateful for how connected you become with one another. You're learning a lot from that relationship. You cherish it. But then at some point, like this person, your partner, starts to want to spend all his time with you, starts to message you every like second hour or something. And it's like he almost can't live without you. And if you're in that place, if you're in the shoes of that person, how would you feel? Wouldn't you want more space? Wouldn't you want freedom? Wouldn't you want to just have some time by yourself so that you can see all the reasons why you're grateful for that relationship and why you're grateful you met your partner? And if he's always with you, like, would you be able to really tolerate it? What do you mean? What are you thinking? How are you feeling? Because this is what dependency looks like. When we become so dependent on another that we can't find happiness within ourselves, then it's like we want to possess this other person. We want them to be ours. And I'm not saying this in the sense of, let's say, a really masculine and grounded man wanting his woman to be his because he wants to care and love her, and like it brings him so much pleasure to care and love her and be attentive to her. No, I'm talking more in the sense of neediness, of like pleasing, of expectations. You're putting so much expectations on the other person. Imagine if the person you're dating with had all the expectations towards you. Like he expected that you needed to text him every morning and every night and in the evening, and like also through lunch or something, or like anytime there is a problem at his work. He wanted just to, every time something happens, you had an expectations of that she or he needed to text you. And also like you wanted to spend time together every single day. Like you don't have space for one another. And he also wanted to, let's say, get on a call every night and speak for 1 hour. At some point, wouldn't you want more freedom again? Of course you would, right? Because you have other aspects of your life. Maybe you have a job, maybe you have a business you're running, maybe you have something you're passionate, like a hobby or something that you pursue. And if you spend all your attention to that other person, then he will feel that dependency and he will want freedom. Because we're like, ultimately we're creatures, we're entities that are sovereign, that are free, that want to have the freedom to be ourselves. And if somebody is not giving us that freedom because he is attached to us and dependent to us, what happens is that we want to run away. And that's why maybe you're watching this video. That's why maybe in the situation you're experiencing in your relationship. Maybe that's the reason. Maybe because you've become so attached to that other person that he now wants a little bit of freedom. And maybe now it's time to let them go. So now, and letting go actually doesn't mean that you lose them. Letting go actually means that you're learning from that relationship, which is the purpose of relationships again. Because if you consistently learn from relationships, and I also have another video on that topic, you can check it out in my channel, the 3 intentions you can have in your relationships so that you're basically surrounded only by people who support, lift you up, and who you appreciate in your life. There are just 3 intentions you need to focus on consistently. I'll actually put it here in a card, but you can also find it in my channel. And now let's look at the other scenario. Let's look at what would happen and what is really possible if you allow yourself to give an emotional freedom to the person you love. And just actually, before you get there, I just want to remind you again that what you're really doing when you're emotionally attached to that other person, looking at this illustration, is that it's like you're saying to yourself, I cannot feel happy, I cannot feel content, I cannot feel joyous within myself without them, which then puts a lot of pressure and expectation on that other person. It limits, it restricts their freedom, and that's why they want to run away. In a way, can you see how this is an emotional blackmail? It's almost like you're trying to manipulate them to spend time with you because you don't feel confident, or like you don't feel that you deserve love within yourself. And you want to compensate because you're not willing to take responsibility for those inner like fears and limiting beliefs you have. And it's like, okay, you just want to emotionally blackmail them. And if you can't accept that, well, it's sorry to tell you that, but you inevitably lose that person. And now let's look at the other scenario to see what is possible if you apply what I will share with you by the end of the video. So stay with me. Now, here's the second scenario. And if we look at that illustration again, we can see that if you allow yourself to let go of that person in your mind, in your imagination, you just allow yourself to be yourself, to have the freedom you know the other person would want for themselves. So in a way, you're sympathizing them, you're having compassion towards them. You know that, well, they might need some space and time alone by themselves so that they can really appreciate you even more. And that's why you're willing just to give them that space and time. You're like, you want to pull back again. You don't want to put all your energy and focus on that other person for a while. You just want to focus, take all your attention and energy and put it somewhere else, on a passion you're following, on a project, on a business, on a hobby, on like your job, on spending time with friends, having more fun, whatever it is, just not spending time with that person. Maybe put it in your self-development, maybe watching videos like this, it would help. Or like maybe work through your, like again, limiting beliefs and emotions and your fears that are even making you become so attached. So once you withdraw your attention back to yourself, you start becoming magnetic again, and you start walking away from that relationship. Not really, like, doesn't mean that you lose that person. You're just putting your focus on yourself, and you start. What happens is that in the eyes of the other person, the person you're dating with, that wanted to walk away, wanted to move back, now they'll become attracted to you because they will see you as powerful, as self-sufficient, as certain, like, I'm certain of what I know. I know I deserve this woman, and I don't need to always ensure myself that I deserve her by constantly spending time with her. Just making an example, if you're a man, for example, watching this video. So you also, like, in the eyes of her, you seem to be more caring because you care for her needs, and she needs time, space. You also become more confident, like you become stable. It doesn't mean that not spending, like if you give her more time and space, it means that you're stable within yourself, you're self-sufficient. You don't necessarily need somebody to be fulfilled within yourself. You're good within yourself. You're like of value already. You're somebody who is there to give, not to just take. This is how she will see you in her eyes, or like how he will see you if you pull back. So, and what will happen is that in her mind, or in the mind of your date, once you pull back, like also pull back, when she's pulling back, you also pull back. What will happen is that she will start wanting you back even more, or he'll start wanting you back even more, naturally. Again, naturally, you wouldn't have to worry about that. It will happen of itself, because now you give the other person space and time for them to be within their own presence, and they will find all the reasons in their mind of why they want to spend more time with you. So you actually attract them to yourself, because you're giving them emotional freedom. Instead of emotionally blackmailing them, which is what happens when you become attached to somebody and have expectations which are not clearly communicated. Well, if you focus on yourself and withdraw your energy and let go consistently of your attachment, then you're giving emotional freedom to that person. And since he have the emotional freedom, he or she has the emotional freedom to again find all the reasons of why he or she wants to spend more time with you again, she'll become attracted to you again, and then the whole relationship dynamic will go to another cycle, and your like depth of intimacy between you will actually deepen. This is probably a topic for another video, like if we talk about intimacy. But if you want a healthy relationship, ultimately you can it's like impossible to spend your time all the time with that person. You can't be together 24/7. And just to give you an example, in my life a couple of years ago, like 3 or 4 years ago, I was in that space, I was in that situation exactly. I was like, when I was dating, I just became so attached to the girl I was dating with that I wanted us to spend all the time together. And like I remember us spending 16 out of 24 hours per day together, and I started losing passion, started losing my hobbies, stopped reading, stopped spending time with other friends, and like a couple of months passed, 2 or 3 months passed, and then I found myself in a position in which I lost more by spending all my focus and energy on that relationship and on that girl than I would have if we were spending less time together, but it was more quality time. And since we were spending all of our time together, both of us become complacent, and the relationship wasn't allowing each of us to grow. Eventually it ended. Eventually, actually, I wanted to end it. It's a story that I share in some of my other videos if you're curious. But yeah, this is what happens. You cannot be in a like long-term, romantic, healthy, mutually beneficial relationship if you spend all your time together with your partner. So my friend, it's time to work through those like fears, limiting beliefs, through that dependency. And it's not that hard. Actually, there are just, and this is actually the practical part of the video. Now, everything I shared so far was just to give you the concept of what you're experiencing, like the context of what you're experiencing, so that you can relate, so that you can understand that this is normal. It happens to everybody, but you don't you don't have to perpetuate this. You don't have to perpetuate this pattern so that it happens again and again and again. When you learn to withdraw your energy back and focus on yourself and let go. Let go. Ultimately, this is what you need to do. But how to let go practically? Well, let's talk about this now. How to apply this practically? Well, there are basically 2 questions you want to put in your mind and contemplate on them. Whenever you want to make the other person feel attracted to you again, just take these 2 questions and contemplate on them. Like, take all your attention and contemplate on them. Not necessarily spending time with that person while doing so. And after you did that, and after you found the answers, of course, you can share that with the other person and your relationship will deepen. Actually, just 2 days from now, I've had similar experience. I found myself becoming really attached to the woman I'm dating right now, because we are in this polyamoric relationship, which gives us the freedom to also date other people. And she's now in a date with somebody else. I know this can sound a little strange to some people, but it's actually something I want for my growth, ultimately, for my development. So I found myself becoming attached to, like, oh no, what if he's better than me? What if she decides to choose him over me? Even though we are in this polyamoric relationship, which assumes that everybody is free to date other people if they want to. And so I found myself becoming attached, and I decided to apply this process to actually look at some of my feelings and start letting them go. And like, I wrote all my feelings down. There was some crying, there was some letting the pressure that has stuck inside of my body out, because it was like, it happens, it expresses in the forms of crying, in the forms of you becoming really hot or you becoming really cold. Before I started crying and letting that energy go, I was really cold within myself. My heart was always almost like ice cold. And my body was really cold, even though the room I was in was really hot. So when I started letting go, like, again, it started to warm again, started to become warm, and I started crying. Eventually let go of all that energy, wrote down. It was easier for me to contemplate on those 2 questions, which I'll share with you in a moment. writing them down, so basically just on my laptop. And eventually later, during the day we met, and I shared with her what I was going through. And it was like really vulnerable to share some of the feelings and things that I wrote down while letting go. But even though I did it, and it was a little scary, what happened is that, like, what was the result of that is that she actually became more closer to me, and our relationship deepened on another level again, which is like what I'm exploring right now, how deeply you can connect with somebody and at the same time keep that relationship healthy. So yeah, it's not scary to share about your intimate feelings of this process that you can apply afterwards, after you go through it, after you let go of your feelings. If you want, you can share that with your partner, with the other person you love, when they become attracted to you, which is exactly what happens. Once I let go of my feelings, so she basically wrote me that she wanted to meet, even though we decided not to meet that day, or like it wasn't certain. This is exactly what happens. Letting go allows you to become attractive again, because now you're not being dependent. Now you're being self-sufficient. And now, practically, how to apply that? Well, 2 questions. The first one is, what do I lose if I walk away? Because, you know, she's walking away or he's walking away and you're becoming attached and you're worrying. Now, we want to put yourself in her shoes. See? It's like trying to see what she's experiencing and own that within your body, so that you don't, it's almost like trying to be caring and loving of the person you love because you love them, right? And you want to know why they want more space and time. And that's why you ask these questions. What do I lose if I walk away? Now, this question, if you contemplate on it deeply, if you take your time to really contemplate on it, you'll find that you'll discover actually that what you think you're losing, if you lose that person, is what you're learning from them, what you're activating within yourself. So you're becoming more whole and complete. And this is, remember, in the beginning of the video, I said relationships are for learning. They're there to make you become more connected to yourself, more whole, more authentic with yourself, more sovereign. Well, this is exactly what happens. Once you contemplate on that question, well, if you know, like, what do I lose if I walk away? What you think you lose is what you find you already have within yourself. So you understand that it's impossible to lose it. And if, for example, the other person is giving you so much care that you don't give to yourself, or like he's being so transparent that you're not able to be that transparent with yourself, or like he's really committed to his like goals in life and job, and you're not being able to commit, and you find that quality, like what you lose. If you lose that person, what you lose? What do I lose if I walk away? So this is the first question. And again, the purpose of these questions is not so much to answer it intellectually, while it's to allow these questions to get you connected with your feelings so that you can start letting them go. Now, the second question is, what have I already learned from the relationship with that person? Why is this important? Practically, metaphysically speaking. Because if we assume that your relationship ended, just in our imagination, if we assume that for a moment, well, you still feel resentful that it ended and you might hate this person and so on and so forth. But if you're able to see what this person told you, what you have learned from them, then you will naturally start feeling grateful, right? And now let me just ask you something. Do you feel attracted to people who are feeling grateful to you? What do you think? Like, if somebody comes to you and shares what they have learned from your relationship, no matter how close you are now compared to when you were before, will you become more attracted to that person? Will you like him more? Will you want to spend more time with him? Probably the answer is yes, right? Because we all want to feel like valuable. We all want to feel like we are in service to others. We all want to feel that our life has meaning for others. It's meaningful. And if you are able to recall, like to just focus your attention on what have you already learned from that relationship with the other person and focus on that, then this means that you're extracting the benefit out of that relationship, focusing on what you're learning, and you're also accepting what do you think you would lose if the other person walks away, which is basically the resistance. That's why they're almost in sequential order, these questions. First you ask this one and contemplate on the feelings, and you start becoming more emotional, more vulnerable. You see your feelings coming up, and maybe even it can be happening right now while you're watching the video, which is okay. Allow yourself to have those feelings. And naturally, when you allow them, accept them in your body, you will see that you naturally start contemplating on the other question. What am I grateful about? Ultimately, this is what is it. What have I already learned about this other person, from our relationship with this other person? Did I become more connected within myself? Did I become more confident? Did I become more self-sufficient? Did I become more loving? Was I able to start validating other people's feelings more? I said that because this is the case for me, actually, what I'm learning from my current relationship. So, yeah, again, ask yourself these questions, allow them to allow them. Sorry, my English is not my first language. Allow them to make these repressed feelings come up, these repressed feelings in the form of attachment, because with these questions, ultimately you're letting go of your attachments. And when you let go of your attachment, you move from scenario 1 to scenario 2, where you become more powerful, certain, caring, confident, stable, with a purpose. And then the person which is walking away from you will become magnetically attracted to you again. So you become extremely attractive again. And this is your power, because you're focusing on what is meaningful. And what is meaningful is what you're learning from that relationship. So my friend, if you feel excited, I really encourage you to apply this, to try it out, and let me know how it worked for you in the comments below, and if you found it useful. This will be everything I want. And now I just want to share one last thing. If you feel excited about getting yourself in a position in which you can be fully surrounded by only caring, uplifting, supportive, mutually beneficial relationships, I will put a link in the description below to my Facebook group, where I produce so much content on that topic, and also I'll be producing content on that topic here in YouTube. So make sure to subscribe, make sure to like, and let me know what you think about what you've learned so far through the video. Hope you find it useful, hope you found it valuable. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in another video. Bye bye for now. Love you.